Welcome to your daily OCG Thursday, now with 3,000 more Dragma. So if you guys haven't realized, Dragma has become this major tech engine in the OCG. Everybody's doing it. I mean, when you have a Stratos, a Rhoda, and extra deck ripping capabilities, it was just a matter of time until something wanted to come out of left field and start exploiting this. So this deck actually plays the one copy of Cardinal of Dogma Tetragrammaton, I believe it cannot be normal summoned set, must be special summoned by its own effect. So you can target 4 fusion, synchro, Xyz, and or link monsters in the graveyards. Special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, banish those targets. At the start of the damage step, this card battles a special summoned monster, destroys many attack position monsters that your opponent controls as possible, and ping your opponent for 800 damage for each fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster destroyed. This is literally the Cardinal Destroyer. And then, of course, we have triple copies of Stratos that can be special summoned if something's on the field from the extra deck. And to top things off, you get a Surge. This card's so good. One copy of Fleur de Lis, the Dragma Knight. If something is on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon her. And then, if there's a Dragma on the field, you can negate the effects of a card. Simultaneous, by the way, for the summon and the negate. Very important. Triple copies of Manju for searching. Triple copies of Maximus Dragmatis, the extra deck dumper. So you banish something, fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster from your graveyard, special summon this, and then during your main phase, you can send 2 from the extra deck to the graveyard to rip 2 from your opponent's extra. So basically, you end up dropping cute things like the Heralds to search. You can drop the Ashen for the end phase special. Somebody can drop the Ints for the special. Or my favorite, you drop the Apocalone to search for the Rook, so you can set up a window on your opponent's turn. We have 2 copies of Shrit for searching, 2 copies of Nekroz Embryonic for searching, 2 Klaus for that big fat negate, 1 copy of the Decisive Armor for the attack boost, 1 Nekroz of Gungnir, and 2 copies of Trishula, and of course, the OCG recently getting Unicore back to a larger number. So basically, we've actually reached a point in the game's history now where we can start negating things from the... We can finally punish the extra deck mechanic. About time. We have 1 copy of Valk to end the battle phase. Triple copies of Nadir to drop out the Apocalypse, or you can drop out the Heralds to start your ritual combo, and then you resolve and search for, your good cards. We have triple copies of the Extra Foolish Barrel, pay half drop from the extra deck. With the 1 cycle, the 2 Kaleido, the 2 Nekroz Mirror, the triple Preparation Rites, 1 Rhoda, and the 1 copy of the Rook. Now, down here in the extra deck, this is pretty straightforward. We have 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Decode Talker, and 1 Equamax. 1 Wind Pegasus adding Nister. Triple copies of the Herald of the Arclight. 1 copy of the Final Sigma. 1 copy of the Coral Dragon. 2 copies of Ints. 1 Window. 1 Construct. 1 Apocalone. And the 1 copy of Mr. Ashen Dragon himself here. Now, this whole deck, we just make Unicore, start negating the extra deck, hide behind the Fleur for something that starts to become an issue. And we also have the big Cardinal Dogma to basically start wiping out things that the opponent might put on the field as a threat. Because the 3200 body is absolutely impressive for this style of deck. And I will say, some of the engine, honestly, it carries this deck on its back. Initially when I saw this, I was like really shocked. I didn't think that this would end up being as good as it actually is. But evidently they just gave this deck enough pieces that it would start being... Or they gave the theme enough to be spliced with everything at this point. So this is just a very easy or very early look into the Nekroz build. Now, we have Spellbook Dragma. Oh boy. So we have access to Magician Souls to turn off our Spellbook cards to net us more advantage. We have the exact same mechanic that we've been using. We can drop from our extra deck. Hello, guys. Oh yeah, Omega in this deck. It should really be noted here that Omega is just the absolute pinnacle of nonsense in this deck, because this allows you to reload and start firing off your things that you dump out of the extra deck. So you can basically get a guaranteed int shot off once per turn with the extra deck rip, which we're not going with per se here, but it is something to note, especially when your Disciple's dropping. Because if your Disciple's dropping and you need to reload, you have this for the relay. It's very interesting. So we have triple copies of Asher Blossom, Enjoy Spring. Triple copies of Ecclesia for the special summon Stratos. Gotta love it. 2 copies of the Effect Failure. And we have triple copies of the Fleur de Lis, the Dragma Knight. You actually have more synergy in here because this is a spellcaster for the cool little synergies that you need for the spellcasters. 1 High Priestess. I mean, 2,500 body that you can special. Triple copies of Magician Souls being probably the backbone to this deck. We have, now that we actually have higher level spellcasters that we can drop out, we actually got hidden synergy here. Because you guys remember Master Plan, you guys remember Apprentice Illusion Magician Girl where we'd play her. Now you can just play your Dragma Inch and have an in-house spellcaster already that you can just pop off of the souls. Triple copies of Maxi and triple copies of the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Now we have the triple copies of Disciples of Nadir. This card is so good. 1 copy of Eternity, 2 copies of Fate for the beautiful disruptions, triple copies of Knowledge, 2 copies of that Spellbook Alive. This is the banish a spellcaster monster from graveyard, reveal a spellbook in your hand to revive a spellcaster from your graveyard. And then this card gets equipped to it. And we have 1 Spellbook of Power, triple copies of Spellbook of Secrets, 1 Master, triple copies of Infinite Permanence, wrapping up the main deck here. Down in the extra deck, we of course have 2 copies of Selene, because why not? 1 Almirage, 1 Anima, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, with the 1 copy Phoenix, 1 Holly Fibrax, 2 copies of Crowley, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Akashic, 1 Omega, 1 Ints, and 1 Mr. Ashen Dragon, wrapping up a relatively interesting take on the Spellbook franchise as a whole. And once again, we see just how much of a backbone that the Dragma archetype brings together, and allowing these, what you would think would not be synergistic ideas, but it allows these items to function together with these decks. It's so good. And then last but not least, we have Eldlich. That's right. We have Eldlich Dragma. We are really wild in here. So we have the 1 copy of the Condemned Witch. So a lot of people right now, this card is seeing a lot of play. The fact that it's a quick play. Yes, you send any number of other cards from your hand and or field to the graveyard. So you can actually, if you search for it off of the Condemned, you've automatically got 1 loaded. And you can have the attack of all monsters that the opponent controls that are effect monsters and negate their effects. And your opponent cannot respond, can activate cards or effects of cards with the same original type of card, monster, spell, or trap card as the card sent to the graveyard to activate this card. So you literally get a forced interruption on the opponent, and it puts them in an extremely bad position. We have triple copies of Ecclesia, 2 copies of Mr. Golden Boy, and triple copies of the Fleur de Lis, the Dragma Knight. Gotta love it. We have triple copies of Cursed Outland, triple copies of Disciple of the Night Eater, 1 Eld Elixir, 1 White Destiny, 2 copies of that Forbidden Droplet, showing back up, with triple copies of Pot of Extravagance. We have triple copies of the Golden Land, Conquistador. Then we have triple copies of Punishments. We haven't seen Punishment yet, so this lets you target a face-up monster opponent controls. Send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard with an attack equal to or higher than the targeted monster and destroy the target. So you can drop Ints off of this for an additional pop. The downside is, after this card resolves, your extra deck becomes locked for that until the end of your next turn. But that's fine, because we're striking down our opponent. This is probably the best 2-for-1 in the game. Triple copies of the Eld Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, 1 Golden Land Forever. Then we have 2 Pirates, triple Imperm, and triple copies of Skill Drain, wrapping up the main deck here. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 Almirage, 1 Link Spider, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, 1 Avendread Savior, 1 Juggernaut Libby, 1 Dora the Explorer, 1 copy of the Adagnister Wind Pegasus, 1 Omega, triple copies of Ints, and triple copies of the Ashen Dragon. Then we have 1 Barrier Statue of the Heavens. This actually comes up, right? Light, by the way. 1 copy of the Condemned Dark Lord, and 1 copy of Eldlich the Golden Lord. Triple copies of Seer Mode, 1 copy Forbidden Droplet, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, triple copies of Lightning Storm, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and 1 copy of Impure Order, wrapping up Dragma this, Dragma this, Dragma that, Dragma everywhere. I mean, it's one of the best techable engines in the game, honestly, and I could see some crazy limitations to this, because just tagging in this line gets you everywhere. And Mr. Ashen Dragon just brings it all together. So guys, what do you think about this week's edition of OCG Thursday? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And well, guys, I'm out. Peace. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCole40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCole40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcolegames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.